HBAR is now live on Robinhood. That's right. We are going to look at this plus a number of other HBAR segments on today's video. And I thought this was really cool. I'm really hoping other coins like Algorand get on there too, but I think this is going to have an impact, and we're going to look at how it's going to have this impact. So let's start with the announcement, which just happened probably an hour, maybe a little bit more before I went live. Yeah, and this was tweeted directly from the Hedera Foundation. HBAR is now live on Robinhood app, bridging the gap between 25 million customers and Hedera's native token. As one of the largest retail trading platforms in the world, this marks a pivotal moment for accessibility to the network. People are very happy about that. Yeah, I think it's big. It actually is really big. Now, I want to say that some people will say, well, I'm not buying crypto on Robinhood. Are you crazy? Totally fine, totally legit. And I should move this, by the way. That's definitely a legit opinion to have, but also keep in mind, this is bringing accessibility to for your favorite coin to a whole bunch of people who otherwise probably aren't going to even go on Coinbase, let alone like download a crypto wallet and do all that. There's just a lot of people who aren't going to do that. And so anytime these things, this is why the ETFs matter too, by the way, because it brings that liquidity from people who otherwise probably just aren't going to do it. You know, your boomer dad or grandpa, he's not going to go to Coinbase. You know, maybe he will. I mean, there's always exceptions, and someone will be like, oh, my dad did. Yeah, but most people aren't. Most people, they're not going to download a crypto wallet for sure. So this brings accessibility. And to highlight that, we have a comment from Zach Humphreys, friend of the channel, and I want to take a listen to what he has to say.
HBAR just got some huge news, guys. Welcome back to the channel. This is huge for HBAR. It's going to bring a lot more eyes on the project.
And by the way, he made this really fast. I'm very impressed with how quickly he got this out there.
This is some breaking news for you guys. All right, let's get it right into it. Just came out literally 15 minutes ago. HBAR is now listed on Robinhood. I literally just saw this come across the timeline. And some may look at this and say, okay, that's cool. But Robinhood is no joke, right? This used to be a platform where like only retail investors were there. Robinhood is becoming much, much bigger. I mean, institutional players are porting their entire portfolios over to Robinhood now, and it's now available to trade on Robinhood crypto. And because Robinhood recently, acquired a massive crypto company, they're going to be listing a ton of new assets. I also read that they're listing Lido DAO in the EU, but Robinhood put this out officially here this morning, just before 9 o'clock Eastern. And when we look at the price action, HBAR is popping up a little bit. We came down from 23 cents, popped up to 26 cents on the news as soon as that broke this morning. Actually was kind of front-runned a little bit. People probably were able to buy it on Robinhood there. So we got a little pop in the price. We're up 2.6%, sitting at number 16 on the big board.
It's the exact same thing that I said, by the way. I thought, yes, absolutely. This is definitely moving the price, and I think it was reflected. I think we saw that.
And Hedera continues to be one of those top assets that you have to stay locked in on right now, in my opinion. It feeds into so many different areas that I think are going to be crucial to watch. Now, I kind of want to break down and just, talk to you guys, break down exactly why I feel this way. Real quick, though, check out my free newsletter, link down below in the description. You don't want to miss out on that, okay? It's totally free.
Speaking of, I have a newsletter as well. It's frugalbc.substack.com. You should definitely check that out as well. I've been I've been basically posting every Friday now. Kind of built it. I kind of built it into my my work plan or my routine, basically. So now Friday morning, that's one of the things I do is I write the newsletter before the live stream. So check that out for sure.
Free to join. You're going to get this 3 times a week. And real quick, a word from our sponsor, D-Flow. You can trade all the top tokens, new tokens, over 6 million cryptos right when they're launched. You don't have to wait until they get to main exchanges. So there's a link down below to D-Flow. Check it out. Really cool application. And you guys can start trading all the top assets.
Should I get this one? Maybe this would be a good affiliate link to have. Anybody use this? Let me know in the chat if you use this.
Very, very low fees as well over on D-Flow. So give that a look. I'll leave that link down below. And of course, the newsletter is totally free. So you got to check that out. So with all that being said, so HBAR gets listed on Robinhood. Why are we still speculating on HBAR? Why are people looking at it as a viable option? Let's start first and foremost with its enterprise grade technology. Keep in mind, Hedera isn't necessarily a blockchain. Okay, it uses hash graph consensus mechanism, which
man, HBAR people, hey, I love you. I love you guys. Man, you guys will flip out on somebody if they call it a blockchain. But the problem is, and I guess you could say ledgers, but it's hard to have a collective category, but also include Hedera. But yeah, I remember one of my first HBAR videos I ever made, I used the word blockchain and people flipped out on me. They were so mad. It's true, it's accurate, but come on, guys, like there's not a good collective, word for some of these things. So sometimes you just have to you just kind of have to word it that way.
Which is a little bit different from traditional blockchains. It offers a higher throughput, lower latency. That means you have finality time in the low seconds. And then it also provides what's called fair ordering. And this is making it very, very suitable for real world high volume applications. And HBAR is super well positioned in the RWA space because of this, and especially in industries like finance, supply chain, the Internet of Things, these sort of areas. Now,
even more so, I think its biggest use, and I think this will probably be true of Algorand to some degree as well, but HBAR is very much positioning itself for this. Agent-to-agent payments and AI payments in general. And so they have two different AI focused studios just for AI and payments. And why? Because you need this stuff to happen really fast. Can't be slow. Has to be fast. You can't wait 2 days for a bank to do anything agent to agent. It's got to happen because it's going to happen really fast. The velocity of money is actually crypto's biggest use case. And I don't know if a lot of people understand that yet. I mean, you can talk, DeFi is great, decentralization is great, but honestly, the speed of money, the velocity of money is very important. And it's one of crypto's biggest assets. And that's why people are interested in crypto.
Now, in addition to all of this, keep in mind HBAR, all while the SEC has been very harsh on most of the crypto industry prior to this new regime coming in, HBAR has always been looked at as one of those assets not deemed a security. And part of that is its strong governance council. They're governed by global enterprises that include Google, IBM, Boeing, Standard Bank, LG, Ubisoft, Dell, and each member here, they all run a node, which helps governance decisions, bringing credibility, decentralization, which is crucial, and stability to the project.
So I admit that's one area where I think Hedera actually should be more decentralized. I agree with the credibility part. It's a big deal to have all these big companies, well-known household names that are yeah, we're on board with HBAR. That's one of the things that it definitely, he's right, it does lend credibility. But I have concerns when you have a handful of companies that are picked by the foundation to run nodes and no one else really can. To me, that's not centralized enough, or decentralized enough. Sorry. So I want to see more in that direction, and I think they're starting to set up for that. But that's one thing that I definitely would like to see different.
This is one of the reasons why the SEC has never looked at HBAR as a security. And it has a ton of real-world use cases because HBAR is powering applications like carbon credit marketplaces, supply chain tracking. It's good for micropayments. And then, of course, tokenized assets and DeFi. So all of these real world integrations, I think, are going to drive long-term demand and utility for the HBAR token, especially when it gets its ETF. And I think they're going to be in multiple basket ETFs as well. Hedera is also one of the most energy efficient distributed ledgers. Okay. It claims to be basically carbon negative, which is going to be appealing to any of the ESG conscious investors and enterprises, which there are a lot of them out there.
Yeah, in fact, Algorand's pretty high up there, and also claims that via carbon credits and that they buy and stuff like that. But as I recall, like Algorand basically takes like 10 city blocks worth of electricity to run a year, which is not very much. It's quite a that's the figure I recall, and actually Hedera is even less than that. So he's right about this for sure. There's way less electricity. It's very minimal to run both Hedera and Algorand, but especially Hedera. It's usually number one when they study it.
Okay, and the utility for the HBAR token specifically makes a lot of sense. You're basically using HBAR to pay network fees. You could stake it, and you're doing it to secure the network, and that's why they have so many big players on board. The tokenomics look really good. They've got a total supply of 50 billion HBAR, circulating supplies slowly increasing through scheduled releases. They've done it the right way, which, you know, some investors prefer for predictability. They want to see that whole timeline, which they've laid out for everybody. I like that personally because you know exactly when there's going to be token unlocks, etc. You can kind of find entry points that way. Listen, when HBAR was
people
down
get
there,
so mad about that though. People get so mad about those entries. People, whenever there's a token release, people get so irritated, and it's like, dude, they gotta like release the coins. It has to come out at some point in some way. So people like really flip out about it. It's like it's part of the crypto cycle. It's like you can't just. What are they gonna do? Just hold on to them? Like you always have a release token because you need to put that liquidity in the market.
We were accumulating. We were telling people, hey, it's not going to stay this boring for long. And now you're looking up, and HBAR, you know, sitting here basically from that 5-cent bottom has done a 5x. It's back to a $10.5 billion market cap. So I'm very excited about kind of where things are going in the area of RWA and ISO plays. HBAR's right up there with XRP and XLM, Algorand. It fits right into that mold. Like there's 5 cryptos that I really, really am focused in on and building out strong positions. It's XRP, XLM, HBAR, Ondo, and Algorand. Those 5 for me are kind of my staples.
Yeah, that's a pretty good basket. That's pretty close to the ones that I typically focus on. Like I said, we're going to have an Ondo segment coming up a little bit later. The only one I don't pay much attention to is XLM. And maybe I should. I don't know. But I just, you know, there's only so much bandwidth. But yeah, interesting that we almost completely converge on the same coins. I pay a little bit of attention to Near, although I haven't heard much out of them lately. But otherwise, that's pretty much spot on for what I do.
Right. And so I wanted to update you guys. We got the listing on Robinhood. That is huge. Here it is again. Robinhood official account listing HBAR. And we'll see, obviously, when things heat up on the retail side, just how much this is going to help, right? We may not feel it right away, but the fact that people are going to be able to get in the door via Robinhood is going to be huge for retail investors. So let me know your guys' thoughts down below. Again, shout out to our sponsor of this video.
Yeah, big shout out to Zach Humphreys. I think he's one of the good voices in this space. I'm a pretty big fan. And guess what? He follows Frugal BC, so obviously he has some pretty good taste. Or another way to put it is don't hold that against him, right? I wanted to look at this one too because I think this is interesting, and I'm going to take the headphones off. Oh, now I can hear myself. Am I louder when I put the headphones on? Because I feel like I'm really loud. I thought this was interesting. Hedera-to-earn. I think I've talked about this before. Mine HTE just by completing social missions, installing apps, viewing ads, and checking in. HDEP earned can be exchanged 1-to-1 for HTE. Get 100% airdrop just for creating a wallet. Start your Web3 reward experience now. Anyone try this? I'm super interested in these. Nobody really commented on this post. It's pretty new. I never know what to make of things like these. I know there was a lot of like ones that just operated. There were like cash ones that operated similarly, where you just like watch ads or watch videos and you get paid these minimal amounts. So I'm curious about this, but I always wonder like how these actually end up working out. It does say the #1 crypto earning app. It says get on Google Play, so I'm guessing it's not on iOS, or you have to go through jump through some hoops maybe to get that to work. I thought I'd just like bring that up because I thought it was interesting. I think I had some more other Hedera news. Let me see. We're gonna get to that. Yeah, we talked about that. Oh yeah, this is the big one. This is a big one too. I want to talk about this because it says important update for Hedera users starting January 2026. So beginning of next year, basically. Hedera's consensus submit message price moves from 0.0001 cents to 0.0008 cents. Why? Long-term sustainability, predictable pricing, still one of the lowest cost options in Web3. So, this is a conversation that goes on a lot in the Algorand space. There's a lot of people that talked about potentially doubling the price because right now it's bringing in next to nothing. It's not really sustaining the operations for the foundation or Inc., which really ought to be combined together at this point. I think it's silly to have two. That's just my opinion, but I think it's kind of silly to have both. So I think this I think this makes some sense, but that conversation has been going on. So it's interesting to see Hedera actually going from, this is like an 8x increase, right? Let me think, yeah. Going from 1 to 8. And that's still like, we're talking, let's see, this would be 1 penny, a tenth of a penny. So 8/100ths of a penny versus 1/100th of a penny. Still minuscule. And I know these things add up over time, but I think I think this kind of makes sense. And so this doesn't surprise me to see this at all. I think you could do this on Algorand also, by the way. I think, and what I think too is, because people say, well, what about when the price goes up? Well, if the price goes up, you could just lower it back down. I think it's incumbent on, I think we want to keep, it's going to be a long time before, and I don't know if there's ever a space where there's no foundation, like supposedly there's supposed to be, but you're always going to need people to build on the network, and stuff like P2P, which is hopefully coming in the roadmap. We'll get into that. I just don't know that you ever get rid of a foundation's need unless you just decide, yeah, it's everything we need it to be. It doesn't need to improve at all, and we're done. And then how much goes to governance, that's an option too. But anyway, yeah, so I don't think this is a bad thing. I think this will probably help keep the thing sustainability, like you said, long-term sustainability. Now, the difference, of course, is that Hedera's is a fixed price in USD, whereas Algorand, it's measured in algo, it's not measured in USD. So it changes with the price of the token. Hedera's doesn't. This is fixed no matter what the price of Hedera is. So those are two big differences, and it'll be interesting to see if one has an impact over the other. My sense is people like a fixed price. Oh, Jeffrey, sorry you got to run, buddy. I can get to your question, but well, you'll have to watch later. We'll get to it on the Algorand segment, maybe. I think that's all I had for Hedera news. Oh, I did want to see, actually, let me go back because I want to see if, and Jeffrey, good to have you here, buddy. I did want to see if, how people responded. 8x the cost of transacting, you expect corporations, institutions to just say, okay, well, actually, yeah, I do think so, because there aren't really that many people using it now, and the volume is very low. So I think this is a good time to do it before the volumes get really high. But that's just me. I shouldn't say no one's using it, but like the TPS has been really, really low. I mean, actual TPS, not theoretical. Yeah, people don't seem happy about it. 800% price increase in consensus service is pretty crazy. I get it, that's more sustainable and that the ecosystem development orgs have wasted huge amounts of capital, so action must be taken, but dang, maybe let's tighten the belts a little bit. Still a fraction of what most networks charge. Yeah, by the way, like Cosmos, 8 cents. 3 to 5 to 8 cents. This is still like next to nothing. It's still cheap, but if they can ADX the price with zero public consensus, then they set a precedent that they can do whatever the heck they want. Building on Hedera risks suddenly huge increase in cost. That's not a bad point, actually. That's actually not a bad point. Without a roadmap saying, yeah, we're going to increase this much, that's a kind of a good point. Because people don't want to. I would be concerned if my prices can suddenly go up 8x without any input. That's yeah. No, I think he's onto something there. Hedera is telling the markets we're planning for high volume usage at enterprise scale and needs sustainable, predictable economics. Well, I mean, it was predictable before, though, right? Like, increasing the price doesn't change predictability. In fact, it actually decreases predictability. I think it'll be a bigger deal if they... I think it'll be a bigger deal if they keep doing this. Yeah, because a good point. Rezo Bob says that is the opposite of predictable pricing. It's like, well, you just change the price. Yeah. Now, I would say it's a bigger deal if they do this all the time. This person says should have just made it 1/10 of a cent at this point. I mean, it's pretty close. Yeah, so not everybody happy about it, but overall, like I don't necessarily hate it. Other people might disagree. I think that was the only... I just want to see if there's any more. Well, we did have another one from Zach, but I think... Oh, one more to talk about. This from SaucerSwap Labs. Oh, do you guys use SaucerSwap? I'm waiting for Hedera to reach the range where my V2 pool will be back in operation. Because what happens if the price changes too much, your pool just shuts down, which is crazy. Nothing like that works on Algorand that I've seen, so very unusual. Anyway, $4 billion all-time volume. That's a lot. So congrats to SaucerSwap on that. I just, I'd stay away from the V2s because it just doesn't work that well. I'd stick with V1. I feel like I know that guy. Am I following him? I actually am following that guy. Bonzo, always the Bonzo Finance guy.